The last and final session that we have today is on the way forward and next steps. So for this, I'm going to invite some voices that you've heard already this morning. We have Maïlin, the Global Logistics Cluster Coordinator, Mary, the Deputy Logistics Cluster Coordinator, and Natalie, who's our Partnerships Officer. You already heard Natalie speak this morning from the Kenya panel, but now you'll hear Natalie in another form as well.
Thank you, Julie. And I've changed my background to be more exciting with trucks. All right, well, so many interesting topics, so many ideas, so many solutions, so many insights. It's really difficult to even try to summarize what was discussed today and over the last few days when we had the GLM in these different locations. So we're coming to the close of the Global Logistics meeting. It covered 3 days, as was mentioned earlier this morning. And I just wanted to briefly reflect on the outcomes we have achieved together. While there's still much to be done, we have taken steps forward. This was the second time we held the GLM in a hybrid format. And the decision to continue in this manner was influenced and encouraged by the results from last year, from you. Your contributions, your insights, and your feedback that you provided in the GLM last year shaped the course of this event, shaped the course of what we've prioritized and focused on. So it was really valuable. In this GLM, we explored again the common needs, the challenges, our shared experiences. And it's enabling us to exchange this knowledge, identify possible solutions that can be scaled or adapted across our different operations. We heard insights on funding, on access. We talked about advocacy. We talked about localization. We looked at some really important topics. And some of them we can tackle, we are tackling directly, and some of them we must tackle, and some of them we might not be able to be tackling at the moment. We saw discussions on actions to increase collaboration on information sharing. I think one common thread that came out throughout the panels was the need for improved collaboration, for improved information sharing. And that is maybe one of the low-hanging fruits. That's something easy that we can try. Not easy, but it's something a bit more accessible that we can try to work on working closer together, on sharing information as much as possible. Today, we heard from colleagues talking about starting working groups, having more meetings that discuss strategy and long-term solutions. We also heard from the logistics cluster team on tools, on opportunities, for example, the training that can better support you in your logistics operation. We saw the launch of the app, which I think is incredible. So there's a lot happening. Of course, there's still a lot more that we can do, but I think so far we're in a good place. We have heard of the different activities. And I think at this point, you might be able to know where you can join in, where you can participate if you want to contribute to the collective effort. And this meeting, of course, is just the beginning. I think partners and all of us in each different location where we had the meetings will now need to reflect on what was discussed and see which steps can be taken to go forward and what was collectively agreed upon. Discussing the same topics in 10 different locations also really helped us to understand what are key priorities for you. So it also helps us to know what to focus on going forward. Next year, we're going to be celebrating 20 years of the logistics cluster in action. So this will help us. We will take this information, help it inform our strategy. We can share with donors. We can support any other relevant stakeholders on your behalf. And I think, just saying that throughout the meeting, collaboration was the common thread, looking to work together to achieve that greater efficiency. So I really hope that these conversations have provided further insights to the various operations around the world, have strengthened connections within this global community of humanitarians, humanitarian logisticians. I hope you now know who to reach out to in case you want to know more about the operations in Ethiopia or Bangkok or any of the other regions that presented today. We also hope that in the information shared today inspires actionable ideas and solutions. We will continue to build on the outcomes of this meeting to guide our advocacy efforts, our preparedness strategies, and other collaborations. Before handing over, I just want to say a huge thank you to a few people and colleagues who made this meeting successful. There was a lot of work behind the scene. First of all, I'd like to say a huge thank you to everyone who led an in-person meeting. I know everyone is busy. So being able to coordinate that, bring everyone together was a lot of effort. So a huge thank you goes there. A thank you to all the speakers and moderators today for taking your time to be part of this meeting and to prepare and to share your insights and your knowledge. A huge shout out also goes to the logistics cluster team here who have been managing the admin side, the information analysis. So I'm going to shout out a few names: Jillian, Zainab, Alexa, Julie, and Ayak for their hard work in managing this process. And I do have a thank you to Maïlin and Emery for their exceptional guidance and leadership, tirelessly working throughout this very demanding year to ensure that the logistics cluster provided the critical support which enabled you as the community of partners to deliver. And then lastly, but not least, a big thanks to everyone here who participated in the GLM, who came together, who shared your insights, you took the time, you were dedicated, you were committed, and you contributed to the insights we have gained here as a collective. So I really hope we can take these insights from these discussions and turn them into meaningful actions going forward. And with that, I will hand over to Maïlin for any final reflections.
Thank you very much. And by Maïlin, is it working? Yeah. And by Maïlin, you mean Maïlin, Julie, and Mary, right? You don't see us, but we are all lined up here in the same room. All right. I will not repeat all the thanks, but definitely to the partners for these conversations, for making the time, to the panelists, to the speakers. I just wanted to mention also a big thank you to the SAG group for their guidance and their advice. We meet every month. This is also a lot of their time that they're taking to help the cluster move forward and in the right direction. Big thank you back to Natalie for all the work that she has pulled to lead this exercise and to lead these GLMs. Thank you very much, Natalie. Julie for facilitating, of course, this overall session, and Mary for all the content that you see behind the scene. And one thing that I didn't do last time is thank the interpreters, and I apologize for that. So a big thank you to the interpreters. I hope that we have not been speaking too fast, and thank you very much. We have colleagues here listening in all the languages, and a big thumbs ups on the various translation in Spanish, French, and Arabic. Thank you very much. Couple of points that I wanted to reflect on. Number one, super happy to see the number of people that were not involved in these type of conversations, but that are getting involved through these local conversations. That is exactly why we wanted to try to have these GLMs much closer to the field. And I was just chatting with one of our global partners that is on this call, and she shared her fear of, do we have like a two level, the global versus the field? No, it's about putting everybody on the same level, on the contrary. And it's really keeping in mind, why are we here? We are here to support operations in the field, whatever we do at global level in terms of advocacy, big messaging, and so on and so forth. It is all in order to support our field. So first of all, that really very happy to see the level of involvement. I think that new people will now contact us, hopefully have better tools at their disposal to do their work, and so on and so forth. And we are here again to support all practitioners on the ground. The second thing that I wanted to mention, and that relates to what Julie said about the TOT, I hope that for those of you who are new, or if you have learned something today, or if you have taken, some of these takeaways that you can bring back to your organization, please do so. Please be the ambassador of the community to your organization, or in your country, or in your groups, in your various groups, working groups in your countries. We need to pass on the word. We need to get the feedback. We need to get the information. We spoke about it. All the tools that are available, but only as good as the information that you will feed back to us. Last point is next year is indeed the 20 years. It is also the end of the strategy that we have for the cluster. And it is, again, extremely important that we remain agile and fit for purpose in that sense, that we keep on doing the right thing and doing it right. And for that, we need all these voices coming from all of you. What are your concerns? What are your needs? How can we all together enable a better response? So please do keep it coming. We are here for that. That's our purpose, is to help and support. And we hope that we can continue that based on what you require. As usual, I will turn to my two right hands for any further points or comments that I may have forgotten, but a big thank you to all of you.
Well, I shall start, first of all, with my own reflections. And I think lots of thank yous have been done, but generally, thank you for your showing up, for your interest and engagement in today and in all of the other things that we do as well. And just picking up this theme of collaboration and information sharing, I think it's clearly a major priority for everyone. But as has already been mentioned today, the information that the logistics cluster is that teams are able to share back with you to sort of aggregate and collate and analyze and give back to you is only as good as what we get. So I would issue a call to action, almost to say we need you to step forward and make sure that you're sharing your data with the cluster and each other. And I think it's important to note that you're not sharing it with me, the deputy global, you're sharing it with the people, the other organizations that you're working alongside. And it becomes the sum, what is that saying? The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So everything that we put forward becomes something greater, and it's not thinking about one's own organization, but the whole of the response. And I think the first thing, we get quite nervous about data these days, and I think the thing I want to remind you of is that you're already doing these things. You've been sharing information with the cluster for nearly 20 years, coming to cluster meetings and doing it verbally, maybe, standing in front of a paper map and going, the road from here to here is blocked, but it's the same information at the root. We've also heard from speakers today about how people are doing, for example, sustainable actions without even really knowing it. So I think it's important. The thing that I want to emphasize is that these are not new things, but perhaps we need to do a little bit more sharing, a little bit more putting ourselves forward. I think we can also be smarter about it, right? We have all these cool things now, apps and interactive maps. We need to look at how we can automate some of that information sharing. For those of you who have digital systems already, how can we augment information sharing? Do we need to have agreements in place or statements on who, what, where, when, how, what we're going to share the information? But ultimately, I think it comes down to people, as almost everything does. I would ask you to encourage your colleagues to get involved, whether it is downloading the app and making a report into LogIE, whether it is writing an email to the local cluster coordinator, whether it is going to the meeting that you haven't been to for a couple of months because you're busy. Encourage your colleagues to get involved. And I think the other thing I would ask you is to keep each other accountable. That means us in the logistics cluster teams, but also each other, because some of you are also involved in some of the things we've talked about today. So ask for updates on the things you've heard about today, national level, regional level, global level. There's nothing wrong with asking for an update. We are here for you, and we should all be here for each other. So I think, we're all extremely busy, and it's very easy for things to drop off the radar. And if we can push each other and keep each other accountable, we can all put our best foot forwards and really drive some of these things forward, because that's what's needed. Those are my kind of takeaways and exhortations. I might also mention that in addition to the things you've seen, we've mentioned the SAG a couple of times, and I might just give, again, those of you who are new, a quick 2 minutes on what is the SAG. The Strategic Advisory Group is, this is the global strategic advisory group that Maïlin and I answer to. The group is representative of the humanitarian actors within the community. So we have, as you can see at the top right there, we have 3 NGO representatives. You've seen Sue today, and we have 2 government organization representatives, and you've seen Richard. And then we also have Blessing from the cluster coordinator team, who keeps us honest and focused on the field. And he does so very well, by the way. And Matt there as the representative of the cluster lead agency. So this group not only is there to keep us honest and make sure that we're focused on delivering the strategy and focusing on the field, but they're also an avenue for you to also give your views and share your feedback and give us a push. You can see the email is there at the bottom of the picture, and you can email that, and all of these people have direct access to that mailbox, and they can take forward any of the issues that you might want to raise through that. And with that, I will leave it.
And thank you very much, Mary, Maïlin, and Natalie. I think that does an excellent conclusion of the conversation that's taken place today. We will just open up with one last poll so that we have your feedback for the future. What topics do you want us to be engaging with for the next global logistics meeting or in other conversations going forward? So we can see the results of those on our end, and we'll keep them internal, but we will also use it to help shape the next agenda. And while that poll's open, I'll go ahead and say a little bit about what next steps we have. So in the coming days, we will launch a feedback survey, and we do appreciate you giving us your feedback for how we can improve this session, whether it comes to the format or the content, because we do really want to make it as valuable and useful as possible for you. Other than that, we have our next physical face-to-face meeting will be taking place in June 2025. And most likely we'll be back online in November, but we will keep you posted on that as it's a little bit too far away. So again, just wanted to say a huge thank you for all of your engagement today. It's been an excellent meeting, and we look forward to when our paths can cross again.